Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty amazing, how one of the most ambitious engineering projects in the world actually gave birth to an institute that would go on to build an entire nation's workforce.
All right, let's just jump right in. To get your head around this institute, you first have to understand the insane challenge that created it. We're talking about the Karakoram Highway, basically a strip of road carved through some of the most difficult, most dangerous mountain terrain on the planet. So how in the world do you even start something like that?
You might be thinking the answer is some giant factory or a fancy pre-planned university. But no, the real answer is so much smaller, so much more practical. It all started with a simple lab right there on the side of the mountain. To really get the full picture of the Construction Technology Training Institute, or CTT as we'll call it, we've got to go back to the project that made it all necessary. Its whole origin story is completely wrapped up in the legacy of this one incredible highway.
So the Karakoram Highway, the KKA, this thing was a beast. The organization in charge, the Frontier Works Organization, or FWO, knew they couldn't just wing it. They couldn't guess if the concrete would hold or if the ground would slide. They needed to know. So they set up a geotech lab to test every single material on site, making sure that this road would actually survive.
And you can see how it all unfolded right here. The highway project ends, but the need for skilled people, that doesn't just go away. So in 1986, with some really critical help from Japan, that little lab became a formal training center. A few years later, in '89, it gets inaugurated, and by 1992, it had grown so much that it was upgraded and renamed CTTI. And that's the institute we have today. Okay, so from a tiny lab to a national institute, how did it become what's essentially the nation's workshop? Let's take a look at how CTSI actually forges the skills Pakistan needs to keep building. The foundation of CTTI is built on these three-year diploma programs. Think of them as the three main pillars. You've got civil tech for, building stuff, mechanical for the machines that do the building, and auto and diesel to keep all that heavy equipment and transport actually moving. And it's not just about turning wrenches. Supporting those core programs are all these specialized departments. They cover really crucial things like quantity surveying, which is all about estimating costs for big projects, and even modern ICT, because let's be real, construction sites today are packed with tech. Now this right here is the secret sauce. This is what CTTI is all about. It's not about sitting in a classroom memorizing textbooks. The whole philosophy is rooted in hands-on, practical training. Students learn by doing, getting their hands dirty on the exact same kind of machinery they're going to find on a real job site. And you can really see that hands-on philosophy in action with their short courses. These are super popular because they're designed to be fast and effective. They get you job ready. In just a few months, you can walk out of there as a certified heavy machinery operator, a welder, or a safety officer, ready to hit the ground running. So CTTI is churning out a lot of skilled graduates, which is great. But how do you make sure that training actually means something in the real world? Well, it all comes down to a serious commitment to meeting very high standards, both at home and around the globe. The Institute's strength really comes from this unique mix. On one hand, it's run under the Ministry of Communications and the FWO, so it's deeply connected to national needs. But on the other hand, it was started with Japanese help and now has partnerships with places like China and the UK. That blend is key. It keeps the training relevant locally and respected globally. And look, they're not just saying they're good. They've got the receipts to prove it. These accreditations are a huge deal. They're certified nationally by NAVTC, across the Asia-Pacific region by APCC, and even internationally by the UK's City and Guilds and the global ISO quality standard. That's basically a stamp of approval that says a CTTI education is top-notch anywhere in the world. So all of this brings us to the big picture, right? The real lasting legacy of this place. It's about so much more than just training individuals for jobs. It's about a collective mission to literally build a country. Just take a second to look at that number. Over 40,000. That's not just a statistic. That is a city's worth of skilled technicians, operators, and engineers that have come through CTTI's doors, an entire workforce. And these graduates are the people who have been on the front lines of Pakistan's biggest projects. The next time you're driving on a motorway, or you see one of the massive dams that power the country, or you hear about the infrastructure for the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, You are looking at the handiwork of CCTI alumni. But the impact isn't just about concrete and steel. It's about people. CTTI is a powerful engine for social mobility. By giving free, high-quality technical training to young people from underprivileged areas, it hands them the keys to build a better future for themselves and their families. Which brings us full circle to their official motto, Constructing Pakistan. It's perfect, isn't it? It's not just a catchy slogan. It's a literal description of what their graduates do every single day. It's their entire reason for being.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that an enormous challenge, building a seemingly impossible road, sparked an equally enormous and lasting solution. It just goes to show you that sometimes the greatest innovations come from having to solve the toughest problems. Which leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What are the huge challenges we're facing today? And what incredible new training grounds will they inspire?